the infamous 50-year-old man who identifies as a 13-year-old girl. That allows Nicholas to swim with the teenage girls. Oh, and by the way, change and shower with them as well.
What the f***? Welcome back to the JP Rex channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend, where we like to call it the lies, hypocrisy, and corruption of tyrants and Satan, shine the light of awareness on woke absurdities, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters. Now, when it comes to absurdities that are emanating probably from, hi Satan, you piece of file garbage. The idea that you can be whatever you imagine yourself to be, that's pretty absurd. We've seen this across the board so many times, but this is next level, ladies and gentlemen. A man not just identifying as a woman, a man identifying as a 15-year-old girl, competing against 13 to 15-year-old girls, and watching them change while he's in the same locker room, naked. Weird how this woman, this 15-year-old girl, doesn't have a 15-year-old girl's body. It's got a 50-year-old man's body. Before we look at the full story, here's the question. Mental illness, it's a thing, unfortunately. I certainly feel for anybody who suffers from mental illness, and I want the absolute best for them. I want them to have help. I want them to have treatment so they can find a way out of the suffering that their mental illness induces on them, whatever level of suffering that is. So here's the question. Do you think it's better to affirm mental illness or treat it? Now, this story, for the life of me, and I consider myself to be a pretty open-minded guy, but I cannot imagine how this whole story is anything but a person getting their mental illness affirmed, not treated. Affirming almost kind of like makes it untreatable. It's like, dude, you're not, like, there's nothing wrong with you. Like, we want you to be more of what you are. We're going to validate that. We're going to keep you there. It's a place to suffer. Cool. We're going to keep you there. So let's check out Rebel News' coverage of this story with a short clip. And by the way, shout out Rebel News. They're crushing it. If you've seen any of their interviews tracking down hypocrites like John Kerry at the World Economic Forum. Oh, you no CO2s for anybody else? Did you get here by private jet? Oh, you're saying that's a dumb question, John. Well, it appears to be the most intelligent question possible. This is a story out of Canada. I believe Rebel News is based in Canada. And for the life of me, I also don't understand how dictator Trudeau has not shut down Rebel News. With all the tyrannical stuff Trudeau is doing and all the truth-based freedom stuff Rebel News is doing. I don't know why. Maybe God is on the side of Rebel News for all I know. But let's take a look at Rebel News' coverage of this 50-year-old man identifying as a 15-year-old girl.
Of course, the infamous 50-year-old man who identifies as a 13-year-old girl. That allows Nicholas to swim with the teenage girls. Oh, and by the way, change and shower with them as well. Even though it's against world aquatic rules, he should be competing in another division,
Probably another division, I'd say.
As in transgender division. It's disgusting, but no, he is so entitled. He insists on swimming with real biological girls. We finally have a definitive answer to where Nicholas Sapita changes and showers. It is in the girls' dressing room. I saw it myself with my own eyes.
You should probably rephrase that because that implies he was in the girls' dressing room. I'm sure he wasn't. He was probably observing this 50-year-old man going in there.
He didn't go into the male dressing room. He didn't go into the family dressing room.
Now, who's at fault here? A person with a mental illness, they're potentially not able to exercise the self-responsibility that allows them to live in a civil society. At the risk of victimizing someone, and there's nothing more disempowering than victimizing anyone. Well, victimizing yourself is actually more disempowering, but just letting that person be a victim of his own mental illness for a minute. Whose fault is it that this is happening? Drum roll. Is it the swimming organization, the schools that are allowing this? Yeah, but that's not the core fault. I would say the core fault is the parents allowing this to happen. Scarlett Johnson on Twitter, who reposted Rebel News video, a comment under her tweet is, "I'd pull my daughter off that team faster than you can say pervert. Amen to that." And any parent who has not done so and subjects their teenage daughter to being seen by a man who wants to be in the, not women's locker room, girls' locker room. Any parent who doesn't pull their daughter out of that situation is a parent who is not a protector. They're not a good parent. Anyone who is a good parent, in my opinion, will be a protector and will right away pull their children off that team. Maybe some parents have done that. I don't know. All parents haven't. So I would say it's the fault of the parents allowing your child to be subjected to that in that environment. Parents on this team with this dude, y'all should be ashamed of yourself. But that's good. Feel the shame of your lack of protection, because it's healthy to feel shame because it's uncomfortable, and that discomfort, it teaches you to do a better way. It's not affirming your discomfort. It's helping you to go the other direction. Like you touch a hot stove, your body's wise enough. It's like, well, this is burning my hand. I'm going to affirm this experience. No, it's going to reject the experience, and it does that with discomfort. That's what parents should be feeling, shame, and I would consider that healthy. Seth Dillon of the Babylon Bee also comments under this, if only bigots oppose this, you're welcome to call me one. And this next comment is so good, by Kenny Howard. This is a George Orwell 1984 quote. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. This is 1984. Personally, I think we need to make 1984 fiction again. You can get these shirts on my shop. Link in the description below, wakeupwithjp.com. But we are living in 1984. Some parents are allowing this to happen. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. What? These parents with their little girls, like, these aren't just like, hey, this dude's like changing with other women, which is also a crime in my opinion, but he's changing with minors, ladies and gentlemen. What is the evidence that these parents' eyes and ears are seeing and then rejecting? The evidence of the eyes would say, that is a 50-year-old man trying to change with my 13-year-old daughter. Reject! Another comment on this post says so well, this whole situation is vile. The fact that we've allowed it to get to this point is just as putrid. That's a well-written comment. The fact that it's happening, we ain't victims of this, ladies and gentlemen. A victim is a position of powerlessness. We are not victims of this. You can't be a victim and a victor at the same time. We have to accept our power, the power of we the people, and the self-responsibility to accept that power also means it's our fault. That's why this comment is so great. It says, we've allowed it to get to this point. We have. Which also means we're the ones with the power to change it. Paula Scanlon, a few years ago, I would have thought this was a comedy sketch. Me too. In fact, my comedy special that came out like a year and a half ago, I had a whole stand-up bit where I was taking the piss out of the transgenderism movement, and part of how you make something comedic, one principle is the principle of exaggeration. So I was exaggerating transgender ideology into trans ageism, and I had this bit where it's like, yeah, I identify as I'm 7, and I'm going out to the Pee Wee football team. I'm the middle linebacker. I'm breaking collarbones every single play, and some of the parents, they don't like me because I work harder than their kids. It wasn't funny the way I said it. I kind of forget how it goes, but yeah, like the Babylon Bee style, how a lot of their headlines, satirical headlines, then become reality when we allow it. This is exactly that. And then lastly, before we get to what Jordan Peterson has to say about it, this comment, if you're a 50-year-old man changing in front of 13-year-old girls, you belong in prison, not a girl's locker room. By the way, not a women's prison, a male's prison. So Jordan Peterson posted this. The 15-year-old girl swimmer is named Melody Wiseheart, age 50, sex male, but 15-year-old girl kind of thing. So Jordan Peterson, you probably remember last year at some point, he was reordered by the Canadian Psychological Board to undergo re-education training. Jordan Peterson, he's a little bit too much of a free thinker and a free speech doer. So that's just context for his post. My re-education with GAD-SAD is proceeding very well. I have learned to see true female beauty without bias and have attached a picture indicating that standard. Because Jordan Peterson, he was banned on Twitter before Elon took over for, I think it was Sports Illustrated publishing like a obese model, and Jordan Peterson just he retweeted it and said, not beautiful. That was part of his offense to the Canadian Psychological Board. So now he's learning to see true female beauty without bias, and he's attached a picture indicating that standard. So Jordan Peterson's sense of humor coming out here saying this is true feminine beauty. Yes, it is. And if beautiful 50-year-old Professor Melody Wiseheart wants to compete against the 13-year-old girls he changes with, then more power to him. Oops, I mean her. Old habits die hard. Dude, I love Jordan Peterson because, like, one of the other reasons he was banned on Twitter because he misgendered by accurately gendering Ellen Page, and he dead named her instead of calling her Elliot Page. He called her Ellen Page. So I love how he's just doing the exact thing he got banned for. It's just kind of like middle finger in the face of tyranny. So, my freedom-loving friends, a new standard has been allowed to happen. A new standard of Satanism, probably, evil most certainly, has been allowed in our world. A 50-year-old man is allowed to compete against 15-year-old girls, and the real crime is he's allowed to change in their locker room. He's allowed to show himself. He's allowed to observe them changing. You ever been in a locker room? It can happen. With that said, let me know your thoughts on this situation in the comments below. Also, let me know what you think the solutions might be. With that said, my beautiful freedom-loving friend, I look forward to seeing you on our next video. Thank you for watching this one. And before you go, I got a special message for you. Parkour. I get stressed. You and I also live in a world filled with toxins, plus I like to look good and feel good. And I'm someone who wants to take control of my health. But the problem is there's only so much time in the day. So how are you going to meet all these health objectives? Well, problem solved with a Bond Charge infrared sauna blanket. The infrared sauna blanket is my favorite sauna system I have ever found. It's the most cost-effective sauna system on the market. Plus, it's compact so it doesn't clutter up and take valuable space up in your home. The infrared sauna helps your body detoxify. It elevates your metabolism. You can burn up to 600 calories in a single sauna session. It reduces stress, promotes relaxation, helps with your sleep, and boosts those fat-burning heat shock proteins, my friend. Once I started using the Bond Charge infrared sauna blanket, it was like a dream come true because it helps me accomplish many health objectives all at once. Bond Charge makes infrared saunas easy, accessible, and affordable to you. If you want to start taking more control of your health with one of the most potent health devices on the market, then just go to bondcharge.com/JPReacts, and while you're there, be sure to use the discount code JPReacts for 15% off. Enjoy, my friend.